Carl can attest to this. He's been it from the start, and we're just seeing, here in the past few months.
We're the best of.
I definitely wanted to get your view of where it began and where it is now, and through the coronavirus. I mean, that's the incredible part of it.
It is part of the reason why when I do a lot of podcasts and talk about SWE Fury, the way that I brand SWE Fury, because I'm a guy, I hate saying something that doesn't feel, I hate the over exaggerating when it comes to talking about realistic things. If you get me cutting a promo about, and I will tell you that the War Kings are the greatest thing ever to set foot on the earth, and there is nothing that can defeat Jax, Dane, Crimson, and we'll crush every single tag team as we climb run by run to the very top of SWE Fury's tag team division. but when you have a podcaster, you have anybody talking about it, I hate we're the biggest thing, because we're not, and it's not. And I'm not saying that as a negative on SWE Fury. I'm saying it because to understand exactly how, pardon my language, and this will be the only time I do this, but I'm gonna get a little Charlie Haas. The reason why this is the most fucking impressive company in professional wrestling today, period, bar none.
Yes,
I will challenge I'll take the challenge and debate it with anybody who wants to have it. If you guys find somebody who want to have that discussion with me, cool. We'll do it. We'll do it on the podcast. But the reason why this is the most incredible company to date in professional wrestling, period, is because we are garnering incredible attention. We're in 30 million homes. We have either through the connections that we've got because of guys like Rodney Mack, Charlie Haas, Kaz XL, the blighter, Evil Lease, all of these Enzo, all of these names that are associating themselves with SWE Fury, and not to mention little guys like me who've managed to make their way into places. We're getting worldwide attention. People are watching us in places like Pakistan, India. I've got friends in Greece who are watching us. We're getting seen all over the world. We're not a company that's being financially supported by the owner of an NFL football team.
But we're not going to talk about that.
We're not a company.
But to that point, go ahead.
We're not a company that was started by Jerry Jarrett, purchased by an energy mogul and his daughter, and then sold off. We're not a company that was purchased by one of the most amazing and talented and prolific rock and roll stars in the history of modern music. We're not a company that is one of the fastest and most incredible growing companies in Japan. We're not a company that is the oldest company in Japan. We're not a company that is the largest professional wrestling juggernaut in the history of our business.
Mm-hmm.
We're a small company from Texas that started in 2019. The incarnation we are today started in 2019. SW, Southwest Wrestling Entertainment, started or was running, I want to say as recently as 7 years ago prior to this run, because Tom Lance has been in the wrestling business for a very long time. He took some time off when professional wrestling kind of shifted gears, and he went, you know what? I don't need to deal with that drama. And he stumbled across a fellow who wanted to put together a nice little charity show. The two of them had a good conversation. They ran in Wills Point, Texas. They had an amazing turnout. Because I happened to be booking a show that regularly ran in the same building that they ran.
Okay.
And they easily tripled the attendance that we got regularly. The reason why I was blessed enough to be a part of that show is the fellow that Tom was talking to I worked with at that show. He liked my work and he wanted to work with me there.
Yeah.
So we started there. But this company is, God, it's going to be painful to say this because most of my career, my character is very anti-American.
Mhm.
But this company is very much an American dream type company. This is a small collection of like-minded professional wrestling talent and business persons got together and started growing and started doing something. And so we did this first small little show, and then it was so successful that they decided what they want to do is they want to do a TV taping. So the TV tapings in Canton were born. And so that show in which Tim Storm wins the SWE Heavyweight Championship, and I helped some fellas win the SWE Tag Team Championship, even though they weren't the fellas that I was managing. Was it? I believe, if I recall correctly, I think it was Miranda. No, I think it was Jazz. Jazz ended up with a women's championship, and we planted the seeds for SWE Fury in Canton. Was it? God, I want to say it was like July or August of 2019. The plan was we do that. It's a TV taping. We put it together. We package it for TV. We shop it around. Okay. And, we'll do a couple house shows here and there and see how things go. And so we do another house show in Point, Texas, I think it was. We do a show in Point, Texas.
The gin, right? The old gin.
This is right before the old gin. We did one in I want to say it was the high school gym, or maybe a bit of local middle school. But we did it, and it wasn't a TV taping. It was just we're going to do this house show. We're going to kind of, there'll be some cameras to record things so that we've got, some story filler, some little, oh, this is what happened, that kind of stuff. But nothing really, nothing really big, ostentatious. This was let's see how it draws. Let's see. So, we can get a feel for, our house shows financially viable? Can we do a house show and generate a profit without having TV behind us yet? Because, we're still shopping the product. The show was very nice. I had a lot of fun. A lot of the guys in the locker room, I had a lot of fun. James Beard got punched in the face. Was really a lot of excellent things there. Great. It's always great when James gets punched in the face.
You love to see it,
Yeah. I mean, you got to go to shows, but
I'm sorry. I actually want Carl to jump in as someone that's watched the product a little longer and can provide a fresh perspective. So, Carl, if you got anything on your mind.
Yeah, that's what I was asking Nigel. I started at the old gin, so I did not actually know that there was a show. It was a TV taping. Well, two or three actually.
Yeah, we did 2 or 3 of them at the gym.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of found out about it and joined and started from there and pretty much have made all the shows, but I wasn't aware of I think I know what kind of organization. I've seen you at another organization at the Wills Point school or gym there. Yep. So I've met you there on a show or two before too, but yeah, it's and he mentioned this name a little while ago, but Greg the Hammer Valentine was there, and he was, I guess, our first general manager, or they brought in and was at a couple of shows, and that was a legend that I grew up watching too, and I'm sure who didn't. So that was big. The TV tapings were great. It was packed house. I mean, it's a small little venue, very small, and it was packed, and it was just, from there it's just grown to Carthage, where I met these guys, and that was probably one of the largest ones I've seen just since then. But then into Irving and Dallas and all that. It's just grown. It's amazing. And you see the same, like we mentioned the other night or the last episode, you see the same fans. We're all hooked. We love the the program, the organization, and it's great. So I'm proud to be there.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. The great thing about that first year, because that first year was, we had that first show in Wills Point that was done at the middle school. And then we had the show in Canton that was, I want to say, we did with the intention of it being like two or three TV tapings. And then that small house show that we did at the Point, the school gym. And then because I also work for a company called the Pro Wrestling Federation of Pakistan. And in 2019, beginning of 2019, once I was may have been April, but I think it was May of 2018. I went to Pakistan for Rumble in Pakistan and did that show as their host and announcer and commentator. And then they were having me back at the end of 2019 for World Wrestling Champions was the name of the show. And I think we had finished. No, it was the day before. It was the day before the show, and I'm sitting with Cain and Abel and Phil Bain, who are three wrestlers from Greece, who are amazing human beings. Some of my favorite people on the planet, and if I can do anything to bring them to SWE Fury, I will do everything I can, because they're wonderful guys. I think they're tremendously talented. But we're all sitting there, and I get an email in Pakistan, and the email says, "Nigel, are you available on, I think it's the 2nd of January, because we're doing a TV taping. It's going to be an all-day thing, and we've gotten a TV deal. Can you be there?" And I just kind of sat there, and I'm,
took it in.
I mean, I've appeared on TV before. I worked for the great Kali with his Continental Wrestling Entertainment and Pro Wrestling Federation of Pakistan. Both of those companies were featured on national news, and Pro Wrestling Federation of Pakistan was featured on Pakistan's equivalency of ESPN. So, I've been on both countries' television, but I've never been on my adopted homes. I've never been on my country's television before. Okay. At least not in any kind of professional capacity. Occasionally, somebody will do a news interview, and it's like, and this is what professional wrestling is, and this can, so I'm just kind of sitting there, and Cain, Abel, and Phil, they're all they work for there's one company in Greece, and that one company is owned by a fellow who's actually a TV presenter for a Grecian game show. It's like the equivalency of not Wheel of Fortune, but one of those kinds of things. He's a TV presenter, and so he's got access to get TV. So they've got a small little bit of TV there. So they understand my excitement. I'm like, I'm literally sitting there. We've got coffees, and they're like, "Nigel, you okay?" And it's like, I'm gonna be on TV. We've got a national cable deal, and that was the deal with Right Now TV, and that's what really jump started SWE Fury's growth, because with that Right Now TV deal, Tom and the rest of the office, they got the deal with the old gin, and literally like 2 weeks later, I'm walking out on a TV taping, and I'm being afforded the opportunity to do things like cut old school wrestling promos where someone's interviewing me,
Yeah.
for TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all the old, WCW, NW, that kind of feel to it.
Mhm.
And it's absolutely staggering, and Carl's absolutely right. The venue was packed, but the venue was small.
Right.
Now
Very
we had enough space for the ring. On one side, we had only enough chairs for one row. On the other side, I think we had enough chairs for 2 rows, and then we had like 3 or 4 rows between the ring and the stage, and then like 4 or 5 rows beyond that.
Right.
Wow.
I can tell y'all too. I can remember, Nigel may remember this, and what impressed me with him actually at one of those shows at the Gin, there was not much room. It was that small and packed, but he either tripped going up the steps or fell. I can't remember exactly how. I was right there at the steps, like I always am, and he
going
hurt
down
his
the
foot.
steps.
Yeah,
Going down
he
the
hurt his
steps.
foot.
Yeah. Oh God, I remember that.
Okay, and hobbled around the entire match and didn't let it affect. True professional. So, I'm sure you remember that.
You mentioned that. Yeah, you mentioned that it was right before COVID hit, right?
It's
that. Yeah, and you were recovering your ankle right during COVID.
Yeah,
of course.
Amusingly enough, we were coming out. It was the current incarnation of the Rabid Empire, and this was supposed to be the blow off of our difficulties with the former tag team champions, which I had screwed out of I had gotten them their titles to set them up for the Perfect Enemy, so the Perfect Enemy could take the titles away from them. Absolutely. It was, complete Machiavellian James Bond villain. Absolutely. If I had taken 10 minutes to, pontificate as to what my plan was, they probably could have gotten away. That's how involved my planning was. It was, yeah. And so it was this 8-man tag thing that we were gonna finally and they were gonna, their goal was to finally get this done and get there. And we're coming to the ring, and I miss a step.
Oh.
And I miss a step, and I land on my feet in a kneeling position, but my left foot was pointed straight down.
Oh.
And my entire weight went down onto it. And so, I try to get myself up, I try to work myself, and thankfully the cameras were off of me at that point. Super Destroyer and I can't remember who else it was, but they helped me to my feet and make sure I was okay. I was like, we got work to do. Let's go do the work.
Yeah.
And that's, you guys have seen me, use the cricket bat, see me use Boris as a walking stick. Cricket bat.
I'm just letting you
Look, how about this? You guys call it Boris because that's his name, Boris. All right. So at the time it was Winston. Winston hadn't been broken yet. I used Winston to help myself up and used Winston as a walking stick. And actually, Carl, was it you that looked at me and said, "Oh, he's faking"?
No. No.
Somebody, as I'm walking to the ring, go.
I think I heard that, but I was like, I think this is real. I think this is not part of the script I think he's really hurt.
There was a fellow who was ringside, who was close to the stairs, looks at me and looks at somebody and goes, "Oh, he's faking." And I look at him and I go, "I bloody wish I was." and if you go back onto Fight TV and you watch this first episode or these first episodes, this was the second taping that we were at. The first of the, I think it was the first of the February tapings. It might have been the second of the February tapings. So it's either second or third taping. My God, what happens with a year. And now you can see from earlier in the show, I'm walking around no problem, to this part in the show, I am walking very gingerly, and using Winston as a walking stick and my hand on the apron, because I still had stuff to do. And there was payoff for the fans. Okay, because now, if you guys haven't, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen this, okay? But at the end of the match, we were supposed to, dogpile on the leader of the baby faces, at one point. But what starts the dogpile, because everything starts going, we win, but everything goes all higgledy-piggledy. What's supposed to start the dog pile is I'm inside the ring directing traffic, and I turn around and this guy knocks me out cold, just pop. And and the minute that happens, the Empire goes, kill him. And so, they just, they dogpile him. But the fans needed that payoff because I have screwed this guy over left and right. Cost him his title. I've got to give, not only do I have to give him something back, but I got to give the fans something back. The fans have got to get something out of this. And what do they got to? What's the only thing they get? I got to get mine. If I don't get mine, there's no emotion. It's like
comeuppance.
Exactly. If you go back to WCW, one of the difficulties, even though it's my favorite faction storyline in the history of ever, besides the Rabid Empire, the NWO. The NWO was too powerful at the end of the day. The NWO never got really their comeuppance, because every time they got a comeuppance, every time somebody got a comeuppance, it was, oh, you got your hands on it for a second, it's bat, and
they had 37 members at one point.
Everybody was a member of the NWO at one point, with the exception of DDP and Goldberg. That was it. If we don't give something back to the fans who are rooting for the good guy, then what you end up with is a fan who is just exhausted because they can't be disappointed anymore. They can't get excited anymore, because it's part of the reason why. It's a part of the reason why the finger poke of doom, I felt, was such a bad decision in professional wrestling. It's great for the emotions it evoked, but I think it was a bad decision because it just added to that feeling that nothing could beat the bad guys. And if nothing could beat the bad guys, why stop? Why keep watching? And if you pay attention to the ratings for WCW, that's what happened. It countered, and as a counterpoint, it was also the same night that Eric Bischoff decided to announce, because they hadn't done it for a little while, and they just randomly decided to announce, all right, so you don't have to go over to WWE. The main event is Mick Foley as Mankind is going to win the title from The Rock. So now that you can stay here and watch this. And of course, fans went, wait, Mick's winning the title? Switch. No.
I won.
And because you gotta, good guys got to get something. People love the underdog story. People love the David and Goliath story. That's one of the reasons why Rocky is perhaps the greatest cinematic sports film in the history of film, is because it is a story about the underdog and the perseverance of the underdog. And you fall in love with that character. It's part of the reasons why so many people love Dusty Rhodes, is Dusty Rhodes came across as the ultimate underdog, even when he was the top of everything. It was that come on, man, baby. That's why I'm coming for you. You have a character that's relatable. A character, Stone Cold. Even though Stone Cold was such an awesome force, Stone Cold was ultimately the underdog in all of that story, because he was fighting the boss. And especially in the 90s, everybody wanted to fight the boss. So everybody related to it.
Yes.
But back to SWE Fury and those early days. When Carl was talking, I fell down the stairs. I think it's somewhere on Facebook on my social media. I took a snap of my ankle as I had gone to Walmart. I'm riding around in one of the electric carts. It's the only time I've ever ridden. I mean, because I literally driving home, I had to stop 3 times because of the pain in my ankle. And one of the times I stopped, I picked up some painkillers at a petrol station. But I mean, my ankle was so swollen, you could not tell the difference from my calf and my ankle. That's how bad it was. I had thought I had broken it. And then, because it was a Saturday, I had to see if I could get into one of those emergency clinics. Thankfully, I was able to get into a Care Now. They took a look at it and said, it doesn't look broken. We'll give it a few, because independent professional wrestling, don't have, insurance because, day job is evil corporations. I'm at a Care Now, and it's the whole, it's a couple $100 for an X-ray. All right, well, let's hold off until I'm really worried about whether or not. And they gave me a compression boot, and gave me a compression boot and didn't say get crutches, which I really wish they had, because it might have sped the healing up a little bit. But I was I was laid up with that for I want to say it was about the time that happened in February. So I want to say it was about like July, July, before I was able to take the boot off and move around comfortably, confidently. And I want to say that there was a couple of times in between, a couple of times after, where I went, I'm not feeling too secure about this. Let's go ahead and put the boot back on. And but even today, there'll be moments where my ankle will feel weird or swollen, like it hasn't healed completely. Which, I mean, it obviously has, because I've been able to do things like run away from the boogeyman, and which is an excellent skill to have. If you don't have that skill, you need it. That fella.
That can kind of lead into tell us about your fitness journey, man. We all follow you on social media, and we are seeing it, and it's very inspirational, man. You and Brittani.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, before I had fallen down the stairs, I was actually doing a really good job. I mean, to the point where when in the locker room, Chandler and I were getting into our gear, and Chandler looks over at me and goes, "Nigel, you're starting to get some abs. Good job." I was like, "Hey, yeah, no, I kind of am. All right." Then I fell downstairs and couldn't go to the gym for a couple of months, and then COVID said, "No, you can't go to the gym at all." And self-motivation in the home is very difficult for me, because I'm a film enthusiast, I'm a video game enthusiast, I'm a reading enthusiast. So all of those things take time, which takes away from it was Brittani and I met, and we started talking. We started our relationship, and I had been wanting to get back and get into, because the original goal when I started working out in 2018 was I was going to try and get myself into ring shape so I could finish professional wrestling training, so that I could actually compete in matches, not necessarily for SWE, because I don't think I'll ever be, I'll tell you, I'm an excellent manager. Without quoting another manager that's in the Texas circuit, I am tippy top, but I don't necessarily think that, you know, I get in there and I strap on the boots and I go, you know, lock up, that I, you know, that I'm gonna. I don't think that's going to carry over quite as well. You know, and would love to if SWE, you know, if I actually get myself to the point where I'm comfortable wrestling. I would love it if SWE would like to, you know, put a hood on me and let me get squashed. But you know, my goal is to, you know, or at least it was to get in ring shape, finish training, and be able to at least say, I've tried it, I've done it. There's, you know, there's not anything that I haven't in this business tried to do, so that I'm at least able to speak with some level of knowledge about everything in our business. And
I can say I didn't give it a shot. You don't want any regrets when it's all over.
Absolutely. I mean, was it the Struts, their big success, a big successful single in America that really launched their musical successes? You know, could have been me. You don't want to say that could have been me, and I don't want, you know, I've missed out on a lot of those kinds of opportunities. You know, my original plan is coming out of high school was I was going to you know, do film, television, and screen and stage, and you know, I didn't plan for any of that because I didn't know how. You know, I just like, that's my goal. You know, you know, so, you know, because I didn't have a concept of what I was trying to do or what I wanted to do, so I just, you know, kept existing. And, you know, I had a lot of fun while I was existing because I did a lot of neat things. You know, I worked for science fiction, fantasy conventions, hung out with heavy metal bands, you know, did a few independent films, did a few stage productions, you know, did some Shakespeare, that kind of thing. You know, but I never really did anything to get myself to where I could say I really put some effort into it. And so kind of wanted to not have that life experience with professional wrestling. And so that was what my goal was. So, you know, back to, you know, Brittani and I are you know, we're together, and it's kind of like, you know, I've gone to the gym a couple of times, you know, just kind of doing it, but, you know, now I've found this incredible person. I want to be the best possible me to be in that relationship with this person. You know, there's an age difference betwixt the two of us, and, you know, I want to be around as much as possible, as long as possible, as healthy as possible, to be a part of that relationship and to be together, and so that, you know, so that, you know, we can beat some of those statistical odds based off of our age difference. And you know, I want to feel the best me, so that when we're together, and you know, I mean, this is, you know, there's a lot about the wrestling business that deals with appearance, you know, and people get insecure. You know, I am, as a human being, I'm no better in that. I will get, you know, little, you know, and so, you know, if I'm working on myself and I'm trying to do something better for myself, and if I can figure out how to stop eating sweets, then, you know, I can get into that better kind of shape and feel better about myself and all of that. But you know, so we started going to the gym together, and then in us going to the gym together, we you know, we were doing good, but we weren't doing what we knew we needed to do. You know, and so that's when I reached out to Ryan Greenis, who wrestles as Moonshine Mantel. And I've known Shine for years now. You know, I've been there for some of his early matches, not his first matches, but, you know, when he faced Tokyo Monster Kahagas. I want to say this is while Kahagas had the NWA North American strap. It might have been while I had the championship strap, but I remember watching Shine have that match with a guy that was very high up in the NWA's structure because of the championship belt that he had. And Shine and I have known each other for years. And at one point in my previous relationship, my previous marriage, or my marriage that's no longer, because previous marriage implies that there's a marriage now.
I give it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, there's plans, but we're not there. But we've got plans, definite plans. She's got the ring. She's got the ring and everything. So I mean, we've locked in that this is a thing. But Shine had worked with me previously, but I kind of half-assed it. I mean, I seriously half-assed it. And so reached out to him and did some communication about, hey, this is, and I did it not only for myself and for Brittani, but I actually mother and father Rabid have workout plans of his that because as I said, octogenarian and septuagenarian, they the more that they work on their health, the longer they'll be around. Right. And so I got them fitness plans, and that was part of my mother's Father's Day present to them. And once Brittany and I got our plans, we just all right, let's do it. And we probably swear at moonshine on a regular basis now. I mean, we say a lot of unkind things about it.
Not a kind word to be said. What I'm hearing.
Well, I mean, not.
While you're doing it
during the work.
Yeah, during
no. After and I've blissfully been in a position where someone has looked at me and assumed that I'm an old hat at this, and I'll look at them and go, oh no, I've just recently started, but here's the information. Look up this fella. Here's his name on. Look him up on social media. Tell him Nigel sent you, and he'll give you, he'll talk to you about what it would cost to get the workout plan and the diet ideas and that kind of thing. Because I mean, I know that while I'm not where I want to be physically, I am miles better than where I was, A, when I started, and B, when I started this fitness journey the very first time I started it in the June of 2018. Because I started it, in a direct result of my wife has left me. I feel terrible about myself. I need to do something to make myself feel better about myself. And the first thing I need to do is work on my physical appearance. And if I don't take matters into my own hands,
it could be bad.
Well, not only it could be bad, but it's one of those, I'm a mature enough adult to admit that I have a certain level of shallowness to me when it comes to looking for a partner. My partner has to have a certain level of physical attractiveness. I knocked it out of the park with Brittany. She's gorgeous. I love her so much. But if I have a certain level and a certain standard, I got to make sure that I'm doing something to get to meet that. And so. I started it for mental health. I started it for emotional health. I started it for physical health. And now I'm doing it in a like the other day when I was because of what happened this past week with my cat, I missed two consecutive days of working out. So on Thursday, I did legs and I think it was arms and abs in one day. And because I did it at a time where Brittany couldn't be with me, we didn't have the ability to take snaps of each other. So, I did a terrible snap while I was doing barbell squats on a Smith machine. And I had a complete stranger take another snap of me, which bless their heart, they did, but it was very far off. It wasn't terribly flattering. I needed something to make me feel better. So I was like, you know what, I'm wearing the SWE shirt. Oh, dude, flex. And I flexed and I snapped the picture and I'm looking at myself going, whose arm is that? And then I'm getting all these.
You see a noticeable difference, man. I mean, really.
I mean, I'm getting people asking me if I've got a license for these guns, and I'm going, where's the tickets to the gun show? And I'm sitting there going,
yeah,
I'm a theater and choir kid. This doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I mean, at one point somebody said, "Are you trying to be the most in shape manager in wrestling?" I was like, no, because there's a fellow who used to manage a guy by the name of oh God, I've forgotten Matt's last name.
Matt?
No, Matt.
Oh, Matt. Okay.
Oh,
Former, and Matt, if you ever watch this, I am so very sorry. I've forgotten your last name. God. Now he used to be NWA World Tag Team Champion with Rob Conway, the Iron Empire. Matt, and it's always on the tip of my tongue. Matt. No. Anyway, he had a manager at one point by the name of Rich Rood, Rood, and for a manager, the guy had 6-pack abs. He had guns of definition. I'm sitting there going, I'll never look like that. And since I know I'll never be that guy.
I believe you're thinking of Matt Riviera.
There we go. Yes, thank you. Please, thank you so much for looking that up, Matt. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to forget your name. It's been such a long time since Matt and I worked with each other. Sorry, Matt. Hope you're doing well if you're watching. But yeah, Matt had this. I mean, if Michelangelo had chiseled a manager, Rude would have been him. Well, I mean, it's like this looks like what abs will never look like on a human being. Well,
you're what Nigel's inspired to be.
Yeah, no, not even inspired. Just one of those, I know I'll never get there. So, I'm just going to keep doing my thing. But the fitness journey has been, it's been hard, but it's been good. I'll tell you right now, after ab day, I have to be very careful how I sit or lie, because if I am not either close to something that I can grab hold of and pull myself up, because the abs go, no, you have screwed us enough today. We're not doing anything for you. I did all of that, and then I went to go get my hair clipped. And the stylist, wants me to lean back for the shampoo chair.
Oh, we have to lean all the way back. No, sir.
I almost beheaded myself because I go to lean back, and it's at this extreme lean, and I'm leaning back, and all of a sudden I almost fall. But I hadn't put my elbows back to stop myself. I'd have concussed myself on the damn sink. And he's like, Nigel, what's going on? Is it you don't have to? It's like, no, I worked out. He's like, oh, you worked out too much, and now you can't. It's like, yes. So I may need your help to sit up.
Well, despite the near beheading, it's honestly been really inspiring to see your progress as you've been going on. Like, I'll go on Facebook every day. I'm like, hey, look at Nigel. He's in the gym again. And then, the gun show. And then there's that one picture with the stranger. We're not going to talk about that one.
And you have someone to do that with. You're on this journey together. It's really a neat thing, and it's very inspirational, man.
Yeah, no, I don't give SWE enough credit for this, and I really, she and I have known each other on social media almost since she started her career, which is about six years or so. Mm-hmm. And with the exception of an occasional Facebook post to her, when she pops up on the, it's your birthday, didn't really know, we knew the same people, didn't really know the young lady. And I'm not that kind of guy to go, hey, how you doing? That, and, I was married at the time. So, it's very weird to start, and, I don't want to be that guy. Right. I try not to be creepy, try not to be uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
So, we had never really talked until the SWE Fury show at the Lava Cantina. And I'd known that she was a promoter and that she owned Elevate Pro. And I do occasionally work in Louisiana or before COVID I did, for Full Throttle Wrestling, my friend Teddy Knoll. But I'd always wanted to work for one of the companies in the New Orleans area because I like New Orleans. I've been there. I was there once. Was horribly financially irresponsible. But you know, the food was amazing. The ambiance is really incredible. And so I wanted excuses to go back. But with wrestling, you know, it's hard to go, I'm going to go here for a vacation because you sit there and you go, but you could also take a booking instead, you know, and unless it's the happiest place on earth, you know, I'm not going to do the whole, well, you know, I could make money instead of wander around a city that, you know, I you know, don't really know anybody, but if I've got a booking in that city, so I, you know, right. So, you know, I walked up to Miss Houghtlen with the intention of saying, you know, hi, how you doing? You know, I'm Nigel Rabid. We know each other through social media. We're friends on Facebook. I'd really like the opportunity to come and work for you at Elevate when, you know, this is also, you know, COVID is still kind of still kind of when things open up and availability is possible. You know, we exchanged pleasantries, and later on, we caught each other up on there's that balcony that all the talent, you know, was watching the show from, and we caught up with each other up there. And she's got her COVID mask on, and I've got mine on, and I look at her and I catch those eyes, and I fall hard.
No.
And we basically started talking on and off all night, and then from about, I want to say it was about noon the next day, because we kind of made a, you know, if you're still in town, you know, because I had made a post about going to Fish and Fizz here in the Richardson area for fish and chips and how great it was, and she had made a, you know, comment on how jealous she was of it. And I was like, you know, if you'd like, you know, they're open tomorrow. They're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now, and the British Emporium. How I found out about them is the British Emporium, which is a shop that I go to, you know, pick up things like, you know, odds and ends, you know, chocolates and crisps and, you know, all the unhealthy things. Yeah. It really, I mean, literally, I go in and like I'll drop $50 to $80 just on candy. It's really sad. I'm a giant child. I mean, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it's still one of those things. You sit there and you go, "Really? Could you be adult for 20 minutes?"
I really need that, but I really wanted it.
Right? Yeah, and so, you know, they had done a pop-up shop inside of Fish and Fizz because Fish and Fizz had shut down inside dining because of COVID. So you could do carry out. And so they were basically renting the space to my favorite shop, which happens to be in Grapevine. This is a closer shop. So, you know, I'll go and check this place out. And come to find out there's this lovely little fish and chip shop that's attached to it. And so I was like, you know, hey, you know, if you're still in town tomorrow, because I know you go to, we could go and have fish and chips since you mentioned that you wanted to go. And so, yeah, you know, and so I messaged her the next day. And about noon, which is about the time I got up because we were up really late last night. Niles Planquet provided some wonderful wine, and you guys, I mean, you guys don't understand how good Niles wine is. I currently
got his wife a bottle.
Yeah, I bought my wife.
Yeah, no. To give you an idea, I currently have 2 cases in the pantry. And I want to say 4 bottles outside of the pantry. It is my goal that when we finally get into the house, I have a wine rack that is available for something like 70 bottles of wine. And it's my full intention to stock that all with windy wine. So, you know, if you can get windy wine, get windy wine. There we go, Niles. There's your plug. It's amazing stuff. But, you know, got up at noon and did the whole, hey, you know, if you're still in town, you know, love to take you out to fish and chips. She's like, no, sorry, we've already left. You know, some of the guys had to get back for work, you know, because they got their job. All right, yeah, no, fair. You know, I mean, we'll see each other. You work for SWE Fury now, so you know we'll be not a problem. And we just kept chatting and kept chatting, and then literally 4 days from when we met, I did something completely out of character, which was, I usually just kind of let things happen.
Right.
I'm gonna ask this young lady to be my girlfriend, and I did that. She had the wonderful lapse of judgment to say yes.
A wonderful. Should have known. But here she is. She's stuck.
Yeah, and we kept things quiet because professional wrestling, people can be weird about, because, especially 2020, because 2020 was a very weird year for a lot of professional wrestlers because of social misdeeds and legal misdeeds and things like that. So, we were kind of keeping things quiet. And New Year's Day, we announced that we'd been in a relationship and that we're continuing forward. And, she's just been amazing. But none of that would have happened in the way that it happened if it were not for SWE Fury. So literally, professionally and personally, SWE Fury has changed my life.
Sure.
They're like we were saying, they're one of the fastest growing professional wrestling companies, quite possibly in the entire world. I mean, I don't know every company in the world, and as I say, I hate being exaggerating, or I hate to exaggerate when I speak factually about things. When I'm not being, the villainous mastermind. But we've done, I think, what no other company would have been able to do. We had, if you count the Canton taping in 2019, we had 4 TV tapings in the can, and the first one was at least 2, maybe 3 shows with some extra matches sprinkled in. And then I want to say the first and second Old Gin tapings were kind of the same, 3 to 4 matches with extra matches sprinkled in as filler, and, for new spaces. And then we didn't have anything until we did our taping in July when Teddy Long and Animal debuted. God rest Joe Laurinaitis. So we had nothing. I mean, and we did a couple of things where we did it kind of because of getting local television with CW 33. We did a little bit of, hey, we're gonna kind of reboot the show, and so that gave us a little bit of extra time and space. And what was it? I want to say we had taping July. I think we had another Canton taping August, and then we did an on the road taping at a facility, actually a facility owned by Niles Blanquet, and basically was really a tryout show. There was a little bit of story that was communicated, but not as much as perhaps would have been preferred. And then October, November, December, we started regular tapings. And then we had with January, taking January off, we've kind of, in my opinion, we've kind of been a juggernaut ever since.
Absolutely.
We've caught some national attention. Especially with someone socking Charlie in the face.
That did do happen.
I mean, I'm glad Rodney got to him first, because I managed Charlie. Charlie and I have worked together for almost a decade. And I'm in the back watching it like this. And Rodney sticks the guy.
Yeah, as he should.
And security moves the guy along. And Charlie is, when Charlie shakes it off and goes, I mean, the poor security guy must have got hit like 2-3 times. Because Charlie's trying to get around him to get the guy.
Right.
You know, and we got some attention for that. We got some attention because of poor Enzo and his injury.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he recovered, but he really probably should have considered having representation. You know, representation could have prevented